Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Business Spotlight interview series. Today, it's my pleasure to host Aidan Rainey. Aidan is the director of Belfast Backcare. Aidan, delighted you could join us. How are you?
Hi, Richard. Yeah, very good. Thanks, Richard. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule to share your wisdom with us. Here, why don't you share with us who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it for?
Yeah, so my name's Aidan Rainey. I'm a physio, first and foremost, and the owner of Belfast Backcare. It's a physio clinic on the Antrim Road in Belfast. And we have a sister clinic, Mid-Ulster Backcare, up in Maherfield as well. I've been a physio now, graduate in 2009. So what's that, 14 years, something like that. Yeah. So yeah, I've always worked in private practice, came out 2009 and got a job in Belfast Backcare as it was then. It was a fellow, John McGee, had started the practice just a couple of months earlier. He then emigrated to America 3 or 4 years later, and I took the step then at that stage to buy the business off him. And that's been me since then. So we just celebrated 10 years as the sole owner of Belfast Backcare. Yeah, and
Fantastic.
enjoyed every minute of it.
Brilliant. Well done. So tell us a wee bit about who is your ideal customer. You said you're a physio, but obviously it's branded as Belfast Backcare. Do you just do backs or do you do a wider?
Yeah, so we do a full range of everything physio related. I suppose in the clinic, we have a large team of physios here in the clinic, and each of the physios would have different specialities from sports injuries to pelvic health, women's health.
Yeah.
We have Pilates, which runs in our studio here in the clinic. So we have two studios, or a former Pilates studio and then another Pilates studio. So the clinic's wide and varied. And I suppose there's something there for everybody's physio needs. So if they're sore, stiff, or rehabbing from surgeries, we can cater for all those things. I suppose my own background or ideal client, I started off was doing a lot more sort of sports things, working with some of the teams, Gaelic teams, and stuff, doing pitch side. And then whenever I took over the business and family started to come, then sort of just narrowed down into doing the physio side of things. And yeah, like I suppose as the name suggests, Belfast Backcare, we are, do a lot of back injuries, neck injuries, and that would be the largest and most common injury that we would see that's in the general population.
Sure.
So I suppose it sits quite nicely for that. So anybody with back pain, neck pain, or any pain or injuries, we're here for you. Yeah.
Very, very good. I'll have to get your number and pass it to lots of people I know. Yeah.
Well, that sounds
When
good.
you get to my sort of age, and my sort of figure, you end up with some back pain. So that's great. And you mentioned private. So does that mean that you go through all of the sort of private health insurance companies? Is that how that works? Or
Yeah, so we're solely a private clinic, so we don't have any like NHS referrals
yeah,
or anything like that coming through. So it would be people with health insurance or self-paying people. So um, yeah, the breakdown of the clinic is probably majority of self-paying, and then it would be like with your health insurance companies, and that's a wide and varied list of the different ones that we would cater for as well.
very, very good. No, that's excellent. It sounds like a real success story so far in the last 10 years. So let's look forward to the next 10. What's
Yeah, very much.
what's been your biggest learning as a business owner since you stepped up to the plate as such when the former owner emigrated?
Yeah, I suppose that like first and foremost, I was the physio and was confident in my techniques of treating, and probably still would go back to that's my feel safe
Yes.
is in my treatment room with the patient who's in pain and getting them sorted and getting that. So the business side of things was something that I learned on the job. I had suppose seen like how the clinic was running when it was just a small team of myself and John at that stage, so got a bit of a hand over there. But there was a lot of things which you had to learn as you go. You had to make mistakes, and you had to learn quickly from them. Some things went well, other things didn't. If they didn't, we tried to learn from them and put things in place. And I suppose one of the biggest things I learned quickly was to use people around me, to use it's quite a unique position probably with a lot of the clients would be business people as well, and run successful businesses. So you have a captive audience during your treatment session, and sometimes I would lean heavily on them and pick up tips and ideas, and again surround myself with good people and good professions, like so if you're accountants and everything else, where you're sort of learning from them, asking plenty of questions, asking lots of stupid questions, and trying to learn that way and learning the way up from it. So
Sure.
I don't know if I've gone off on a tangent or if I answered the question
No,
there,
no,
but that was
not at all. I was just going to say there's no such thing as a stupid question.
exactly, yeah.
I remember being told in school the only part that's stupid in that is if you don't ask a question.
That's great.
You know?
Yeah, very much so.
So no, that's great. And what's been the biggest issue that you've had to overcome? Uh, I'm going to put a caveat
Yeah.
on that. You're not allowed to talk about COVID and the pandemic.
You okay? Yeah, which was a challenge.
Yeah, I'm sure it
Um,
was. Yeah.
and as I suppose to aside from that, we recently moved into our current premises.
Yeah.
So we moved from a house on Antrim Road to what was Guy's shop on the Antrim Road. So I bought that in 2017-18, and work was well underway. Pandemic hits, and then we moved in November 20. So that was a time of I suppose a lot of stress, a lot of like unknowns and things were happening there.
Yeah.
Combine that with a massive investment in the property and a massive renovation cost in that as well. So it was trying to manage all those things at once was probably the biggest challenge that we faced. And again, it was the case where you sort of go back to where I built up a good team around me, a good team of physios and admin,
Yes.
and we sort of lent heavily on each other during that, and again tried to learn on the job of how that was probably the most stressful time, because I suppose it was the financial side of the heavy investment combined with not exactly knowing what we were going back into and how that would look, keeping all our patients safe, keeping the staff safe, but then being able to make the right financial decisions for everything. So really thankful that we bounced back quickly in that period. Once things got opened up, things went really well. Patients flooded back in again. The health service probably at that stage was very much focused on the life-saving part of COVID. So we were one of the only health services that were open, which was really beneficial. So that was a big challenging time. And obviously another one is staffing levels of getting staff in, of allowing us to continue to expand. And that's getting good quality physios in the clinic, and that has been a challenge. We've been really lucky that we've been able to do it so far, and have been continuing to get there. But that's probably the big challenge going forward as well, is getting good quality physio staff into the clinic.
And I take it with the investment then, that's you've moved to a place that's allowing plenty of room for expansion and growth.
Very much so. So we're close to so the clinic we have now has 2 Pilates studios within it, and we have 8 treatment rooms, a gym rehab room, nice staff area, nice reception area. It's spacious, nice and bright, so that's great. And then we're also renovating the basement area of the building at the minute as well.
Very good.
So hopefully in the next month, fingers crossed, which will probably be 2 months, but that's where it goes. we will be able to open up into the basement area, which will include another couple of treatment rooms, and a bigger gym rehab space in as well. So yeah,
That's
it's been
brilliant.
all go. It's busy, but yeah, things are going well.
Fantastic. Well done. Brilliant. So what have you learned about yourself during this journey?
Yeah, it's I suppose it's one of those things whenever you sort of these questions, it's I haven't overly reflected, is one of the things. It's been really busy, it's been really fast paced. Um, but one of the things I probably learned is to sort of like is to back myself,
Yes.
is to have confidence in my decisions, and I suppose having that vision of keeping that vision really close of what you're trying to achieve, where you're trying to get to, and who you are and what we're doing, and the center of that, it has to be in the healthcare profession, has to be about our patients and delivering that really high quality care. And I
Sure.
think whenever we keep that as our main focus, the success of the business nearly comes as a side effect to that.
Yeah.
Because if we're doing our job really well, people are going to talk about us, people are going to recommend friends and family to come to us, and that's by far our biggest way of getting new patients in.
Fantastic.
So if we focus on that, I think that's the biggest learning curve, is not to get distracted with other things around that, is to focus on what we're really good at. And again, I suppose that bit of going back to of using those people around you, so
Yes.
the good quality team that we've built up with the physios, with our admin staff, and then with those professions who assist us in being able to achieve what we can. Because I think it's important. Like there's large parts of that I'm definitely not an expert in, and it's important to know what you're good at and know what you're not good at.
Sure.
And whenever you're not good at it, get somebody who can help you and push things in the right direction.
Yeah. Fantastic. Really well done, and a really good mindset on that about outsourcing where you're not an expert.
Yeah, yeah, I think it is. It's just you can't be an expert at everything.
Of course. Of
And
course.
there's professions there to support you in that journey, and it's important to reach out in those circumstances.
So you mentioned about I don't know if that's the right term, sister clinic as
Yeah,
such, the second clinic that you have up in Markerfelt, closer to where
yeah.
I come from. How many days do you spend at each, or do you just spend your time at the Belfast one, but you've
We
enlarged
have, yeah.
to
So
have a bigger
the
catchment?
Marfelt Clinic, I'm in a partnership in it with Danny Mahal, who's one of the first physios to join the team at Belfast Backcare.
Yeah,
So Danny joined it and was ready then to sort of take that next stage of running the clinic. So yeah, Danny takes full charge of the Marfelt Clinic. He's the treating physio there. There's another couple of physios in with him there. So very much I'm based in the Belfast clinic. Danny runs the Mid Ulster clinic, and then we would assist Danny as needed with administrative stuff and that kind of thing as he needs in.
excellent, very good. So any plans for a third, fourth, fifth?
Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't rule out further expansion. We're looking at another option at the minute. But yeah, there could be more. There could be more news to come in the future if the right opportunity presents itself.
Right.
Then yeah, that could be something that we would look at. And if we have the right people to put into that, yeah,
Sure.
that's what it's all about, and it's having those right people who you can trust and can put into the right positions in.
Of course. Yeah. Excellent. Very good. So tell me who inspires you in business today? Have you got your inspiration from somebody or a multitude of people?
Yeah, it's I suppose I take it. Yeah, I suppose I take it from a multitude of different places.
Yeah.
And it is when I'm speaking to other business people within my job as a physio, and they're telling you about their business. Like I find that very inspiring to hear other people doing well.
Yeah.
That would give me sort of confidence to sort of push on. So like lots of other local businesses doing really well, trying different things, and that would give me a lot of inspiration. like I take inspiration from like family as well, from home in different areas. I come from like a farming background, and it's a business in itself. And whenever I see how like my father and uncle developed that business, whenever their father died very young and they took that on, and how they've diversified that business into different areas, and and some of the, I suppose, the risks and things that they've taken to achieve that, is very inspiring as well. So yeah, I suppose I take inspiration from a lot of different areas like that.
Very good. And do you dip into books, or are you linked into podcasts and stuff like that there as well for motivation and inspiration?
It's probably, so I think that's probably, it's my New Year's resolution every year is to read more books, is to get into more books. It's something I'm not good at. It's something that I probably haven't put that time aside to delve into that. Podcast wise, yeah, I'd listen to a couple of different podcasts. I like the podcasts which are, that interview style podcast where you're getting to know somebody, getting somebody who you've maybe seen, like there's one, that high performance podcast. Is one where you really delve into somebody's, people's personalities and what makes them tick. And I suppose the psychology behind somebody, I find that really interesting. And I suppose that's why I enjoy my job as a physio as well, because there's an awful lot of that. It's about, when we have somebody who's sore, it's not just about pain and the physicality behind it, it's about the psychology behind the pain and what effect that's having. So I suppose that all ties in nicely into that. I suppose I haven't found the need to go looking for motivation. I think I've probably been quite self-motivated, quite self-driven. So I haven't found that as something that I was lacking in, that I needed to go looking for.
And I would reckon, coming from a farming background, you had a real strong work ethic, because
very much so. Yeah.
That's what I find in the farming community that I'm up in. There's not too many boys that are looking for an easy day.
No, that's it. Yeah, and you have to, and I suppose it's drilled into you, and it's also you learn to take instruction. And that was something that was really important in the early sort of stages as well. And how I learned and how I developed as a physio was being able to take the criticism, was being able to take feedback, and that's something that I think has helped me as well.
Very good. So you mentioned a wee bit there about the future. Tell us a wee bit more about what you think the future looks like and what you would see as the main challenges moving forwards.
So future, I think the future of the healthcare industry looks pretty strong. We have an aging population. We have an NHS service which, due to funding, is struggling. Our GP services are struggling. Our hospitals are struggling. There's certain areas that, it's full of good people. We're lucky in that, and our healthcare service is full of good people, but the system is struggling. And that presents a challenge to the whole healthcare industry. In the private sector, that probably leaves you probably seeing more growth in that private healthcare sectors. I think we're sort of seeing with private hospitals and everything like that. Physio in the private sector is well established, so I'm thinking that that's going to leave us in a good position for continued growth. And that probably is, looking forward with positivity to that for continued growth in the practice here. Whether we add further practices, to that as well, or just continue to expand here, it'll really depend on, the individual opportunities which arise. Challenges that face us, probably staffing, is a key one. Getting good quality staff, keeping that going is important. And opportunities.
Do you recruit locally for that?
Yeah, the local recruitment is what we've done so far with that. Trying to recruit, and we're lucky in that we have Jordanstown here, or was Jordanstown, moved to McGee now, which is a good producing a lot of like high quality physios, good course,
Brilliant.
and a lot of guys going across the water to study and coming back home again.
Great.
Also, we have lost physios to Australia and New Zealand, and that's still happening. They're creating really attractive job prospects out there, and making it really
Yes.
easy for physios to leave to go there. So we're noticing, a wee bit of a drain in young physios moving out there.
Yeah.
But we're hopeful that they'll come back, and it's hopeful that we will get them on their return leg, having gained more experience and everything out there. So
Right.
again, a possible negative, but hopefully we'll see a positive in that maybe within the next couple of years as a lot of those physios return again.
Very good, but no big trend for international recruitment. I know in the nursing there's a lot of international recruitment, but maybe not in
There is,
physio.
and they've opened up different areas to allow physios from different countries to gain their professional qualifications here.
Yes.
So the Chartered Society of Physio and Healthcare Profession Council. There is that we looked into it. It seems at the minute that it's a wee bit of a minefield. It's hard to know exactly at what level those physios are.
Yes. Yeah.
It could be something that we're seeing coming in. It's something that we'd obviously be open to. It's about getting the right people with the right attitude, with the right skills.
Yeah.
And
Very
if that was
good.
the case, then yeah, we're open to it.
Yeah. Very good. So I really appreciate all your shares. Lots of learning in there for our community, lots of wisdom in there, lots of stretching that you have had to go through, in stepping up to be the business owner, stretching and all the pressure and stress, as you mentioned, through COVID. What would you say to anyone thinking of going into business for themselves today?
Business is great. Business is really good. It's full of, my experience is that it's full of highs, and it's also full of lows. There's also challenges in there. It's not easy. It's very dynamic. In our industry, it seems to be very fast paced as well. Lots of changes, lots of opportunities. I think the key thing is if you're going into business, it has to be something that you have a passion in. If it isn't something that you're truly passionate about and willing to put your time and effort and energy into, then I think if it's not that, then that'll be a big challenge. It has to be something that you're willing to dedicate a whole part of your life to, and that's been my experience of it. So if somebody's passionate about it, if they're driven by it, then yeah, go for it. Get the right advice. Surround yourself with the right people, and there's plenty of stuff out there to help people do that now, which is great. And then go for it.
Fantastic. Aidan, look, really appreciate your shares. Really good advice there to anybody who's thinking of taking the jump into running their own business. And all that's left for me to do is thank you immensely for your time and your input, but also to wish you all the very best going forwards.
That's great. Thanks very much, Richard. Yeah,
Thanks.
I actually enjoyed that.
Thanks very much, Aidan, and look forward to talking with you in the future and hearing as you go from strength to strength.
Lovely. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Aidan.